Toxic work culture that is being promoted by companies. We're talking about a tweet that went completely viral of Daksh Gupta. He is an Indian origin, US-based CEO of a startup. This is an artificial intelligence company that is promoting 84 hours a week. We are talking about after that, controversial statement of Narayana Murthy that garnered so much criticism online. He had asked for people to work 70 hours a week. And now this young CEO has gone on to ask people to work 84 hours a week. He's also gone on to make it very transparent that there is no work-life balance when it comes to his company. He's gone on to say he'd rather be transparent than have people find out on the first very day of joining his organization. Of course, he's gone on to say because it's at a nascent stage, they need to work so hard. But once they can afford to get, more experienced staff is when they will probably, get around to working as a normal company. That is what he's gone on to say. Now, his tweet, which has garnered 1.6 million views to date, has triggered a heated debate online in regard to companies promoting toxic work culture. And, someone supporting him is Zepto CEO Adit Palicha, who has also taken it forward by saying that he has nothing against work-life balance but recommends it highly to his competitors. While some have gone on to say this is quite a transparent move, but others obviously criticizing him for, promoting 84 hours a week. We are talking about Daksh Gupta, co-founder of AI startup Greptile, an artificial intelligence startup that CEO who is promoting. He's gone on to say that work starts about 9 o'clock in the morning and ends as late as 11 p.m. or even later, working 6 days a week. Sometimes they're working all 7. That is what he's put out in a message. Now, we have Mimansa Singh Tanwar, clinical psychologist, head school mental health program joining us. We also have with us Shantanu Rooj, who's with us. Shantanu Rooj, Shantanu Rooj is the founder and CEO of Team Lee's EdTech joining us. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on NDTV this morning. Shantanu Rooj, over to you first. Our company is really promoting toxic work culture by asking people not to have a work-life balance. What kind of norms need to be in place in order to ensure that an employee doesn't face a burnout?
Divya, I don't think this is a trend coming up. There are some stray statements, one by, obviously, by the veteran Narayana Murthy ji, but he was talking about a culture when he actually formed Infosys. I'm not too sure all of these are applicable today's times, right? And then you see some of these new age, very young entrepreneurs charged up, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, right? But possibly what is deficient in those cases is a lot of experience of running large teams. And so I think this model is not something which is generalizable, which is replicable, scalable, or modelable. These are some things that works for maybe from a set of employees, for some set of founders themselves, or for some specific projects over a short duration of time. Life is always a balance, right? You need to strike a balance between work, between learning, for example. We have been talking about lifelong learning all the while. You need to exercise, you need to spend time with your family. I think all of these things are important over a longer period of time. You can do all of these over a short burst of time and there's a project pressure or something like that. But I'm not sure this is something which actually works for organizations and employees over a longer period of time and something that's modelable.
Right. Of course, he's based out of San Francisco, and that is, in the United States where you work by the hour. There's a minimum that you get by the hour. So, when they're working such long hours, he's talking about working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days. He talks about, they start as early as 9 in the morning, but they don't end up, getting back home till at least 11 at night, sometimes even later. So, when you talk about making money to begin with, for perhaps you want to earn more, so you want to work longer hours, but in the long run, how does this really impact your productivity?
So it possibly, this entire motivation of making short-term money is maybe working for some set of employees, doesn't work for everyone, right? And number one. Number two is you can't do it over a long period of time. You can do it over a short period of time. Number one. And the important question that you actually asked there is about productivity.
I can hear you.
Productivity is all about, being able to build new skill sets for yourself, being able to continuously learning on the job, learning online, taking up a course program. All of these things are important for you. So if you are spending about 17, 18 hours in the office doing the same work, I'm not too sure how you're learning new skills. How are you ensuring that you're being productive over a long period of time? You're being adaptive, you're being resilient. All of these things are important in today's workforce. So my take is that these fads, these are amateurish. I don't think this works for most organizations, for most employees over a longer period of time.
Right. We also have Mimamsa with us. Mimamsa, the statement has drawn outrage, just the way Narayana Murthy's statement, also brought about a lot of debate online. But many are highlighting the physical and mental toll of such demanding schedules. What would you say is the right way and the right balance when it comes to working, especially for people who are starting out so young?
I think I agree on the fact that it's difficult to define one factor as applicable to each and every one. We can't have a all or none approach to anything in life in that sense. Different people have different approach on how they end up dealing with stress, on how they end up dealing with work, on how do they approach their relationships, their family, work-life balance. And which is why it's important to understand that when we are looking at the mental health aspect, we need to work both at the macro and the micro level, which means what is it that the organization can do to support employees and their mental health in varied ways, and not just one defining factor, letting that be a defining factor for each and every employee. People have different ways on how they would want to work. They have different abilities to deal with stress. For some, it may work. For some, it may not work. Well, let's say, what if even after having less number of hours or less number of days working, somebody may still end up struggling with striking that kind of a balance. So the approach lies on somebody who is struggling with something, how to recognize that and seek the right kind of help and support which is required to maintain mental health, to look at the negative effects wherever it may be coming from. It may be coming from work, it may be coming from family, it may be coming from any other aspect of their life. And over here in workplace, what can organizations do to provide that kind of a support to any employee who is reaching out to help, even also looking at the overall mental well-being of employees, because after all, workplace mental health is important for everyone.
Right. We also have Anshu Uppal with us. Anshu Uppal, he is the HR professional. While some have lauded his transparency by saying that there's no work-life balance when it comes to their startup, others have criticized his approach to employee welfare. One would sign up for such a job knowing what it entails. Would you say that it is better to be transparent at first and have those, of course, his reaction has garnered a mixed approach, a mixed reaction, so to say. He's got death threats and he's also got job applications. He's saying there's a 20% of the people who have approached him with a death threat, while 80% have approached him for a job.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, Anshu Uppal. Of course, the debate surrounding, these comments underscores the conversation about the pressure of a startup culture and the balance between hustle and sustainability. But if someone is ready to go that extra mile, maybe to earn an extra buck, who really decides here how long should one be working?
I think it's a combination of two things. I'll definitely say it's an individual choice. But at the same time, there is an equal responsibility of the organization that's hiring an employee, because we do have regulatory requirements to be able to protect the rights of individuals, right? I will say it is for each person to decide how far they want to go to be able to earn those extra bucks. But at the same time, we have to ensure that we're able to provide a balance. Even when individuals want to go that far, is it really healthy for them to be able to work those long hours? Is this really providing results in terms of productivity in the long run, or is it really impacting the culture of the organization, right? Because this may also add to the perspective that well-being is not just an individual's responsibility, it's an organization's responsibility as well. And if the senior most leaders in the organization say that it's okay to work 15 hours, then that becomes the tone of the organization, and everybody, and the people who don't want to put in those extra hours actually feel pressured. So we may need to find a perfect balance, and that's where I feel that it's not just an individual, it's a combination of the tone that the leader is setting for the organization, along with the individual's responsibility in the culture that they're trying to keep. So that's my perspective here.
Right. Thank you so much. Of course, that debate that has garnered 1.6 million views, and most of them criticizing, this toxic work culture that's being promoted on social media amongst these startups and companies. Thank you so much for speaking with us here.